Alright, here we go. In Illustrator session number 4, we are going to be working with text and some tricks you can do with text. So let me pull up Illustrator and show you kind of where we're headed. Again, this still isn't going to be a huge project. We're working our way toward that. We're going to get into something bigger here pretty soon. But you can see some kind of funky things that have been done with the text in this document. Like this catch a wave thing is curving, and this round and round we go is going around in a circle. This swim like a fish is kind of shaped like a fish. Play like a champion is arched, and then there's this 3D effect going on down here. Alright, so I'll show you how this is all going to work. I'm just going to go ahead and close this document. This is a little demonstration document, so I'm going to close that, and I'll show you how this is going to work. Now, you will need to get started by going to File and going to Open and get to our Courses drive, Drive L, and get to Period 7, Assignments, Illustrator, and this is session number 4 on text tricks. No handout on this one. Take a look at this movie and off you go. So I'm going to open up this document that's called Text Tricks, and that's how you should start too. It has a list of the 6 things that I want you to do, but you first probably ought to know a little bit about putting type onto an artboard. So the type tool is just this capital letter T on the toolbar over here. Alright, and the quickest, easiest way to add type onto an Illustrator document that you're working on is just come out here and click one time and go ahead and type what you want it to say. And in this case, I'll just use my kind of standard Sheldon Cooper line from Big Bang Theory. So it says Bazinga, and it's really small, and it's kind of plain black thing. So what I'm going to do is come over here and get the black arrow, the selection tool, and just stretch that up to be whatever size I want. I like to work with text that way. I'm going to get that centered back up. I like to work with text that way because I have more flexibility like that. Now when you have it selected, when you have text selected, up here on the options bar across the top, you can change the font if you want to. Some of them have like bold and italic styles, and you have all of this possibility up here that you can kind of work with this. Plus you can change the color. This is black right now, and it's filled with black. So I could come over here to the fill box, and I could double click, and I could change that to whatever color I want it to be. And I could give it an outline, a stroke if I want to. And so you can really kind of work with whatever you want this to look like. Alright, it can be whatever color you want. You can give it an outline if you want to. You can be any font that you want it to be. And so you have all those choices today too. So I'm going to get rid of that one and show you how to do some of these tricks like type on an open path and a closed path and things like that. Alright, now an open path is just something like this. I'm going to show you what I mean. That's an open path. An open path, it has endpoints. You can start and stop, and you don't go back. You know, a closed path is more like this. I'll get it in a minute. There we go. That's like a closed path right there because there's no endpoint to that. That's a closed shape. So you see the difference. We've got an open path here and a closed path. And I'd like for you to try both of these. So I'm going to get rid of these, and I'll show you more about how I did that. All right. Now over here on the toolbar there's a paintbrush tool, and I'm just going to use that to create an open path. Alright, so I'll take the paintbrush tool and I'm just going to make kind of a wavy line. It's not going to be anything all that fancy, just like that, just kind of up and down, good enough. You can make whatever kind of open path you want to do this. That will work right there. That's fine with me. You can make it a little bit thicker if you want to with the stroke setting up at the top. Alright, now I want to take the type tool here. And as I take the type tool, if I just kind of sneak up to this path that I have here, you'll see the type cursor change a little bit. And when it changes like that, that means it's going to type on that path. It's going to kind of curve up and down like this. So watch what happens. I click that, and I can start typing. The wave kind of disappears there, and I can type whatever I want it to say. I'll just say catch a wave, but you know, whatever school appropriate text you want for today is okay. Alright, now that it's really small and it's black and all that, so I'm going to use the black arrow tool and just make sure it's selected, and I'm going to bump up the size of it, and the sizing is up on the options bar. I spelled catch wrong, so I can double click in there and add that C. Alright, back to my black arrow tool. So the sizing of it is up here on the options bar. You know, it's this Onyx font. I could change that font to something else if I wanted to. And now the sizing is a little bit big, so I'll size it down some and get my words back. There we go. All right, so now you can see that when I deselect that, the actual path doesn't really show up. So when you do text on an open path, when you deselect it, it just kind of it's sitting on an invisible path. All right, so that's a quick example of text on an open path, and you can try that too. Now, text on a closed path, what I'll do is I'm just going to draw a quick circle like that, and then I'll take this type tool, and again, just carefully kind of sneak right out. And you may want to, here's something that could help you on this. I want to use this type on a path tool. All right. So I'm going to make sure that I'm going to switch to that type on a path tool right there. It's underneath the type tool, and I'll just again sneak up on the edge of this circle, and I can click there and go round and round and what it says doesn't matter that much. Just got to be school appropriate with the things that you type. Okay, so just round and round and round. All right, there, and you can see that it follows the circle around there. The circle actually kind of disappears when you're doing this type on a path thing. There's these little handles in here that will allow you to rotate it. If you experiment with that some, you'll kind of get used to rotating it around a bit. And so there's some text on a closed path. And remember, a closed path is any kind of shape that is a closed shape, like a circle or a rectangle or a square or a star. Okay. All right, so that's type on a closed path. I'll just label that right there. Now these others are pretty easy here, this warp 1 and warp 2. I want you to do two different examples of them. And again, what I'll do here, I'm going to use the regular type tool, click and hold, and I'll use the regular type tool. And I'm going to use my Sheldon Cooper line again. I'm going to do Bazinga. All right. And I'll use the black arrow, select that, maybe make that a little bit bigger. I want a kind of a bold font for this, so I know of this impact font up here. I'll go get impact. There we go, Bazinga. And you can change colors if you want to. It's black right now, so I'll just change that to some other color just for fun. Maybe give it a little outline just for fun. All right, got it. All right, warp. Now you can choose any of these, but watch how it works. If I'm going to go to Effect, I'm going to go to Warp. And I could pick any of these, arc, bulge, it doesn't matter. You can pick whatever you want. Let's do a flag. Okay. Now, when you start to warp something, you'll get this box that pops up here, and there's a preview option. So I'm going to turn on the preview option, and you can see what it's doing to my text there. Bazinga. Okay. Now I can adjust the amount of bend that's in there if I want to. I can adjust the amount of horizontal and vertical distortion if I want to. Or if I really think I don't like the flag, I can click here where it says flag and switch to something else like wave or inflate or fish or arc. And you can try out any of those you want with whatever options you want. You can kind of tweak it however you would like to. When you get it, you click OK, and there it is. That's one example of a warp effect, and I'm going to label that. Now, I'd like for you to do a couple of them. So again, I'll just type on here, and I'm just going to keep using Bazinga. All right. I'll use my black arrow tool, and I'll size that up a little bit. Okay, and again, colors are totally up to you. You do whatever you want with colors today. It doesn't matter a whole lot. So I'll go to that Effect menu, go to Warp, and again, it doesn't matter that much what you start with. I'll just pick Rise here, and I'll preview that. All right, so this is a Rise effect here. Okay, and I could switch it to something else, or I could keep it on Rise, or whatever I decide I want. Play with the options, get it where I like it, click OK, and I have warped the text. A couple of examples of warped text. Yay. Now, coming down the home stretch here, we're going to do this bevel and emboss, or bevel and extrude. And what I'll do here is, and I'm going to type P-L-A-I-N-F-I-E-L-D, plain field. And I'm going to make that a little bit bigger, not a ton, and I'll change that color to red, I think. Get this all the way up and get that red and click OK. All right, now I'm going to go to, and the way you do this is on here, Effect, 3D, Bevel and Extrude. Effect, 3D, Bevel Extrude. Now you're going to want to preview it in the bottom of the bottom corner of the box here. You want to preview it. So here's what it does to begin with. It kind of rotated my text and it's making it look 3D, but you have all the choices up here. You can adjust these angles. You can spin this cube around if you want to. You can do it that way, or you can use these little arms that are on these adjusting pieces right here, and you can just kind of work with this until you think you got something that you like. You can adjust the extrude depth a little bit. I wouldn't adjust it a lot, but that can make it a little bit deeper if you want to, working on the extrude depth. And I'll go ahead and click OK on that. And you can even add a stroke on that kind of thing, and it'll change the way it looks if you add a stroke to it. All right, so that's my bevel and extrude, or extrude and bevel 1. I'd like for you to do a second one. So you take the type tool, you click on here, you get some text on here. I'll say Quakers, and I think what I'll do here is I'm going to make that a little bit larger, and I'll fill it with a blue color. Get up there. All right, and I'm going to stroke it with a little bit of, I could stroke it with maybe some reddish color. Okay, there we go. And then if I go to Effect and 3D, and I'm going to do an extrude and bevel, and I want to preview it again, it'll take effect when you preview it. And there we go. I got that Quakers thing going, and again I could adjust the rotation of the thing however I want to by using the the cube that's in there or the handles that are in there, and kind of work with it to make it look the way I want at whatever angle. When I get it the way I want, I can click OK, and I've done an extrude and bevel. Yay. So I can label that too. Alright, so I've got text on type on an open path, cool. Type on a closed path, cool. 2 warps, 2 extrude and bevels, yay. And this is remember, it already has a name, so you can just do File, Save As. Make sure you're on your network drive to save it. You can go in your Dropbox folder, and this is Text Tricks. Pow. Click OK on this. And then the other thing you got to remember is you got to drag it and drop it into your turn-in folder on drive L so it can be evaluated. Hey folks, have at it. Text Tricks. Off we go.